Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Inferno Cast, where you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. I, of course, am Inferno Fox, and joining me here is our wonderful cast and crew to talk about a really fun topic, and that is, of course, the impact of Mario Kart and how it helped to inspire a whole additional series of racers. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and introduce my wonderful crew here. We have, of course, the wonderful Stormrosesky of Twitch and YouTube channels Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm waving, but you can't see it. So there you go.
And you just released a new video this past week on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I did. And it was the top 10, my top 10 like forgotten movies of the 80s. I realized I could do another 10 because there are some gems out there that just, time seemingly has forgotten. I'm not saying that they're totally forgotten, but you don't hear much talk about them. So there you go.
Sequel.
Yes.
Sequel video.
Yes.
Absolutely, you definitely should do that, because these videos, in case you guys haven't checked them out, not only our crew here, but all the friends and everybody listening on her YouTube channel of Stormrosesky, they're a lot of fun. Nice dips into nostalgia. I definitely recommend checking them out. Up next, we have Simbu Darkfang. He is our resident level 5 grandpa and a main actor for Basement of the Dead. Again, that's Basement of the Dead, located in Chicagoland, specifically Aurora, Illinois. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here, and Happy New Year. Oh, wait. Sorry. A little early.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But that's all right. Your heart's in the right place, and it's the end of the quarter, so happy new quarter, I guess. Next up, we have Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel Jason the 13th. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem. Always happy to be here.
And definitely happy to have you. And last and especially not least, we have Astrimedes. He is a developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Glad to have a place to put some of this useless knowledge in my head to use.
Absolutely, and we can be your wonderful font of uselessness. That's why we're here.
You can help me be useless.
Hey,
did he just call us useless?
he called himself useless, but we're encouraging him to be useless, at least for the next hour. And you, our wonderful listeners and watchers, can feel free to be useless, but you're probably working or doing something else as you're listening to us. So keep doing that. Keep working and doing that. Don't feel like you have to be useless like me and Astrimedes here, but never
Just don't
Jason.
pay attention, whatever you do.
So before we get into the deep dive into our topic, I just want to give you guys a pre-discussion topic, and that is, what are some of your best acquisitions for video games this year? And I'm going to lead this off with Jason the 13th, because he's going to hit me. I'm going to guess with a Mega Man related one.
Yes, I am.
Because I've heard the story a few times, but I want to hear it one more time, or if he's got something else. Jason,
you heard the story. You were with me.
and I've heard it a number of times since.
Yeah, my best pickup this year was Mega Man Wily Wars for the Sega.
Yeah, and this is an awesome collector's item too. It's one of those reprints, I think, not from limited run games, because when these came out, it actually released within a month or two. So Jason the 13th got it at the gaming convention that he, myself, Jamie Owls, and Rungeon Run went to. And it's an amazing thing, because the game never came out physically in North America. And so this was a re-release and issuance, and it actually is a Genesis cartridge. And
oh yeah,
it's an awesome, phenomenal game. I reviewed it on the Inferno Fox gaming channel on part of my Nintendo fanboy reviews Sega Genesis games. So recommend checking that out. So that definitely was an awesome acquisition. How about you, Storm? What's your best gaming acquisition of the year?
Well, I'm going to say getting the PlayStation 5. There you go. That is my acquisition of the year. So, being able to play things on that platform. I love my Switch still. But yeah, that's gonna be the biggie outside of that. Yeah. But
Moving up
getting
from
into
the kids
PlayStation.
table.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
Storm.
it's just opened up, a few more games and stuff to play. So, and the graphical difference is fun
Yep.
to watch and notice as well. So, yep, that's my big one, and probably be the biggest for the year, and probably next year too, because it's huge, huge. So there you go.
Excellent. Simbu, how about you? What's your biggest gaming acquisition?
Well, I wouldn't consider it quite an acquisition because I didn't have to, buy it or anything. But this year I did find my original copy, unfortunately without the box, but my original Lion King for the Sega Genesis.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So it's game cartridge only, but I did find it. And I also was able to pick up a copy of Stick of Truth, sealed copy of Stick of Truth for the PS3.
Nice. Very cool. That's some good stuff. Astrimedes, how about you?
Probably have to be Darkest Dungeon 2 on Steam. It's a game I was looking forward to for a long time. Didn't really quite know what to expect, and I kind of put it down for a little bit and recently come back to it, and I like it just as much, if not more. So I feel like that's a good sign that a game will stand the test of time. So I feel like there's many hours of suffering ahead of me playing Darkest Dungeon 2.
Oh, nice. That's always fun. A lot of those games, was that a roguelike? Didn't we talk? That was a roguelike, right?
Yeah, it's structured like a roguelike. The game itself plays probably most like a JRPG, really, with the way that combat works. The game really is just combat, essentially.
Nice. Yeah, it's the structure of those roguelikes. It's almost like complete infinite amount of replay value with them, and sometimes you get some of the best games from the roguelikes. And I only need to point to Hades to sort of point that out, or even like Dead Cells.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of examples, and it's done pretty well here. I mean, like there isn't a ton of procedural generation. It doesn't need to do anything too crazy, but just the kind of like different characters and the sort of randomness of which exact things you'll encounter on the map as they're randomly placed with sort of branching, very Slay the Spire like kind of choices through a branching map. That's the random part. And then the combats themselves are like basically JRPG combats with a pretty clever token and status effect heavy combat system.
nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah, for me, my biggest pickups, go ahead and check out my video I have coming out this Saturday on Inferno Fox Gaming at 10 a.m. Okay, enough plugging the video. One of my sneak peeks is that I finally have, okay, I'll give a hint. Probably the fact that it's the best video game ever made, and it's the US version. That's the only hint that I'm gonna give.
You got a copy of the original ET game?
I said the best. This is not Wednesday. We're not doing opposite day.
Jeez, I bet I have that at my parents' house still, honestly.
I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, so again, got the best video game ever made. It is not Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but I am fortunate I was able to pick it up recently, and the US version, which is the rarest version of all, apparently. Which I've never owned it, the physical version of this. But moving on
Ocarina,
to
not the best. That's heresy.
moving on to the yes.
You're gonna leave us in suspense.
Yes,
He is. He wants you
Okay.
to go watch his video.
Yep. You can catch that Inferno Fox Gaming at 10 a.m. Central Time. But moving on to the main topic du jour, topic at hand, again, we're going to be discussing the overall impact that Mario Kart has had on the kind of like the racing genre, and especially some of the games that have been inspired from Mario Kart. A lot of times you call them clones, and I guess clones would apply, but in a lot of ways, it's almost a disservice to some of these, because there have been some of these clones that have managed to exceed whom and what they've inspired. And I personally don't think, my hot take on this is the fact that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is probably the best version of Mario Kart that I've seen and I've played all but the cell phone and the Wii version. And for people gasping at the fact that I didn't play the Wii version, well, there you go. I have yet to play or hear of a clone game. I hate calling them clone games but whatever. Of these games that have exceeded
Games of the kart racing genre.
Yes, kart racing genre, because Mario Kart has literally defined it. I haven't run into any one of them that have exceeded Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but goodness, it has. A couple of these have really touched that line. But kind of going a little bit of a history lesson, of course, is that Mario Kart itself caught lightning in a bottle when it released in 1992 for the Super Nintendo, and obviously it's seen a crazy amount of success. It is the #1 seller on the Nintendo Switch currently, with over, I think, 55 million copies of it sold. Again, just the Nintendo Switch version. We're not even counting when it released on the Wii U, which that was about 10 million. Which, of course, a gentle reminder, the Nintendo Switch is the #1 console in the world right now for the current gen. And I'd argue what makes Mario Kart so good is the fact that it has that simple formula of easy to pick up, hard to master. It's one reason the series and the games that it's inspired has seen such a high level of success. And kind of directing this question to Storm to start out, because Storm, you really take into a lot of love for Mario Kart, especially Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Would you say that, do you happen to agree that the easy to pick up, hard to master formula is what, like, the big reason Mario Kart in general has been so successful? Or what other reasons do you think have helped to attribute to that success?
Well, Mario Kart and my love for Mario Kart is the reason I got a Switch in the first place. So, yeah, I think that what you said is true. It is easy to start, pick up and just play. You don't have to be expert or have played any racing games before, but it is hard to master. I still use the training wheels. I'm air quoting the training wheels on Mario Kart, which is the guidance stick, because I tend to fall off things quickly. But so I'll take the little bit of help. I don't care. It gives me a handicap, but I love playing the game. I think because of the success of Mario Kart, other racers have tried to grab onto it. And the only one that I can think of that comes close was the Diddy Kong Racing that was out on the Nintendo 64 forever ago. And I do like that game and have liked that game. I played some other racers, starting with the new F-Zero, and that just came out. I've only done training lap on that, and I think one match online. I didn't last very long at all. So yes, Mario Kart definitely having huge influence on these, and especially those that have come out for the more cartoony ones. Like Nickelodeon has 3 or 4 of these now. And there are Fruit Racer. It was an off-brand, whatever, through your magic power is throwing fruit at people. So, the power-ups instead of blue shells have been replaced with other kitschy little things. But
No, definitely in agreement with you there. Jason, kind of piggybacking on that, would you agree with Robin? Anything else you feel has made Mario Kart so successful?
I'm probably the one that has the least experience with all the racing games, because it's not one that it's not my go-to. My love for the Mario franchise is probably what got me into the Mario Kart nerds. And I've played pretty much all of them myself. I don't know if I even have the Wii version. But I think the franchise is what pulled me in more than anything, because like there's a bunch of different ones with all the different franchises, and none of them have been my. There's a Mega Man one that I never got to play though. But if I would have got my hands on that when I was younger, I probably would have liked that one as much as the Mario Karts.
Yeah, and it's funny too because when you mention the actual like name or name brand and everything like that, I think you run into a lot of these clones and everything where they can try and mirror the gameplay style of a kart racer like Mario Kart or Mario Kart itself, and it's a thing where they combine that with that notoriety like the Mario series and think that they can see that sort of success. And a lot of these examples, and I'm just going to word vomit a whole bunch of these at y'all, both my crew here and y'all listening. You of course have Sega and the Sonic All-Stars Racing series, because there's been a number of them. Crash Bandicoot and his Crash Team Racing. This I'm pointing to is Jamie Owl's copy, where this is the remaster, or shoot, at this point remake, the remake version of it, and I've heard it's actually really good. And as Storm had mentioned, you got Diddy Kong Racing. This is the DS version. Then you got stuff like Square Enix's Chocobo Racing series, as I think we discussed a little bit before we started, or Sony and the Sackboys Little Big Planet Racing, Konami's Crazy Racers, Mega Man Battle and Chase, Namco's Pac-Man World Rally, Star Wars Super Bombad Racing, Looney Tunes Space Race, Nickelodeon's Kart Racers, and the 4 of them that they had, DreamWorks Superstar Karts, Cartoon Network Speedway, and of course Disney Speedstorm, which is a local favorite to Simbu over here. And I want to kind of point to Simbu just to kind of get his sort of point of view in regards to this particular game, because this topic is sort of inspired both by Storm and by Simbu, because of Storm's love of Mario Kart and Simbu's newly found love of Disney Speedstorm and Disney Speedstorm going free to play recently. So Simbu, what about Disney Speedstorm in particular do you enjoy the most?
Real quick, Joe. Simbu, I have a bonus question for you. Have you played the Star Wars racing game?
No, the only Star Wars racing one I played was Star Wars Pod Racer.
Okay. I was just curious.
I did not know the Super Bombad Racing even existed. And I highly doubt any of our viewers probably even knew of its existence either. I mean, that might be a safe bet. It was probably a PC racer if my if my guess would be correct. But Inferno Fox, just to for pedantry's sake here, as of the time of the recordings, Disney Speedstorm is not free to play yet. It actually goes free to play this Thursday, September 28th is when it goes free to play. So probably by the time people find this video, it's probably already free to play. But I just wanted to clarify for anybody who's jumping early on let's listen to the podcast train. Honestly, a lot of it is, when it comes to the Speedstorm, it's the playing as racing in as the Disney characters, racing in the Disney environment, such as currently we're in the Lilo and Stitch Ohana season, which comes to end when the game goes free to play, because then we will be transported. And Jason the 13th, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to start playing racing games, because the next season is Aladdin.
Yep, that could get me to play that game.
Hey, Lilo and Stitch is what got me to go ahead and pick up the Founders, all 3 of the Founders packs. Not to mention I got good sale on all of them. So, it's racing in the Disney environments. It's, you can tell that they it's not just, hey, we're going to put you on a beach and look, there's the big red battleship off in the background. There's, there's, Lilo's house, there's the blue punch buggy just randomly, on a very barren kind of environment. They're very well crafted. The tracks are very well made. It's in a sense, it's like a lot of the Mario Kart. Well, the newer Mario Karts, because let's be honest, the older original Mario Karts were kind of barren looking tracks, but that's again computing power and graphical limitations. But it's a lot of fun. Everyone has their own little special ability that they can do, and of course you have a small set of different power-ups that can be used. So just like in Mario Kart, I mean, it's not like some of these other games where there's millions or millions upon millions or 20 or 30 different ability things, and you're like, oh, I really need to use this and I can't get this. So but I just gotta state it again. It's anybody who knows me, I'm a Disney geek. You really do. I'm a hard sucker for Disney stuff. I love Disney stuff. It's it goes back to being a kid, and it takes you to that warm, fuzzy, good time feeling memories of being a kid. As all of you know, except for maybe Astrimedes, I got engaged in Disney to my wife. So
so it sounds like that game to you is sort of similar, getting into Mario Kart for Jason the 13th, where it was kind of the characters almost that were the draw for you.
Yeah, I would say that's very accurate. And again, I don't play very many racing stuff, the racing stuff either.
And that's the wonderful thing about something like Disney Speedstorm, where it can take advantage of the dearth of the crazy amount of characters that Disney properties that there just are. I mean, shoot, for me, when you mentioned Aladdin, that's one of my favorite like classic cartoon Disney movies. So that could be like enough to get me into that. If it was Lion King, it'd be the same thing for Jamie Owls. And while we were talking, Phil, I mean, Jason had mentioned how Super Bombad Racing asked you that question. Apparently, it was a PS2 game, and it was supposed to go on the PC, but they canceled a port because of poor sales. There's a reason why no one's really heard of it. Apparently, it only sold 160,000 units, and for 2003 or 2003, 2004 or something when it came out. Yeah, that's I could totally see why that didn't really catch the ride there.
2001.
Well, there you go.
I might actually have to make that a mission to find a physical copy of that game, if it even exists, just to put in my collection.
There's 160,000 out there. Astrimedes, you had mentioned that you had played some of these clone type games before. Which of them have you played again exactly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, oddly enough, the one I think I put the most time into, and certainly most time in kind of recent memory, was Garfield Kart Furious Racing. My wife likes Mario Kart games, but doesn't play any like current games, basically. But likes Garfield. So this was a random on sale Steam game find I was sort of curious about. It seems like I don't know, this one, I think clone is an apt title, because it very much feels like very lazy item substitutions where items look different. In the case of the UFO, literally don't even look different. And it meets kind of the minimum requirements. I found after playing it for kind of a while, there were like some rough around the edges, like little sort of minor but sort of frustrating bugs I found with it. It's like it's very middle of the road. It's like moderately well done. Like it looks a bit better than maybe you'd expect, a little bit, but yeah. So that one's probably the one I've put the most time in. I many years ago, I played Wacky Wheels, shareware, DOS PC. This was, I guess the game came out in 94. I'm sure I was playing it probably probably would have been maybe around that time, a couple of years after. But yeah, this was an Apogee game. And it the original Mario Kart, as you mentioned, Inferno Fox was 92. And I guess the story with this Wacky Wheels game in terms of the development is there was a developer who was working for, I don't remember the name of the company. There's a company that released a bunch of games with a Scunny mascot. There's the name. It was a squirrel character. From what I saw of the games, they look pretty low quality. It looks like, old school DOS shovelware games. But he was working for this company, was kind of inspired by Mario Kart, or at least thought I'd be curious if I can do that, and basically wrote an engine very similar to like a Mario Kart racing kind of like game engine. This was on his own. He privately did this, and then he later went to Apogee and using his engine started development of this Wacky Wheels game. They were surprised when a game called Scunny Racing hit the market, that by all accounts is a pretty bad kart racer. It came from his old company he had worked for, and he realized he had left a copy of the source code of his in development kart racer engine at the last company. And after bad negotiations with them about releasing a kart racing game before he left, they turned around, used his source code to release, apparently, by all accounts, a pretty bad racer named Scunny Racing. And it cannot be a worse name for a mascot character. But yeah, so Wacky Wheels I played on PC many, many years ago. And then the other one would be, so kind of out of curiosity, oh yeah, I played a little bit of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is regarded, at least according to random internet research I'd done at the time a few years ago at least, when I bought this, is regarded pretty well as a like PC racing clone. For some reason, it just doesn't grab me. I find the handling to just not feel very exciting on those games. So I played that one a little bit, and then the last one I played sort of just very recently, just to check out what else was out there. I think this one came out in 2022, called Kart Riders Drift for Steam. It's a free-to-play game. The handling and visuals are like surprisingly good. I actually thought handling felt really good. Visuals actually look kind of much better than expected for a Mario Kart clone. I didn't spend a ton of time with this game, so I can't really comment overall on the feel. Those are my kind of initial impressions, but I will mention another initial impression was that the menu system and whole user experience, UX design, was very bad. I found it very confusing to get through every menu.
Yeah, that game is
very mixed bag. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to talk like honest to God, best case of a clone for Mario Kart, you're talking Kart Rider Drift.
Yeah.
No, those are really good entries that you mentioned there, Bill. And I really didn't know about the Wacky Wheels myself. It was just something that was like, it's funny because I like all those DOS-based games. You would have thought I would have played them. Hell, I played the DOS version of Mega Man X because why not? But I think for me, like I honestly haven't had a lot of time with the clone games, just because of like I've just been so like attached to the Mario Kart series. But I've done I spent way too much time with Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64. It was a problem. I did try the Square Enix Chocobo Racing that had released like a year or two ago on the Switch, and it takes the worst of the gems and gotcha mechanics from the Final Fantasy Record Keeper that I was talking about last week, but it kind of throws out all the funness to that. And it's kind of, as it went on, kind of got rid of if I remember right, the gotcha, but added more in like that battle pass sort of thing, where like you spend $10, then you can get Cloud to be a racer, but you have to play like 100 races or something. And it's like, I spent $10 on the darn battle pass. I don't feel like I should have to do 100 of these races just to do it. And you can't even buy the gems to be able to get the things. So like I'm a very big and bad Final Fantasy fan. So you can tell I'm a little triggered there. Really beyond that, it's sad to say I didn't even play the Mega Man racer, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself for that.
It's
But
disc.
I know, right?
We have to take points away
Horrendous.
from all of you. You and Jason the 13th for never playing that.
I
See.
know.
There's a lot of games that I did not know about when I was young that I know now, and I'm going, I wish I knew about them when I was young.
Yep.
Dude,
For
and
sure.
like Mega Man especially, because like there was a Game Gear version of Mega Man that combines Mega Man's 4 and 5. There's a DOS version of Mega Man 1 and 3. There literally is no 2. I did play both of those because again, it's DOS and it's Mega Man, and I'm an idiot. But yeah, it's funny how there's so many games. Oh, and I think Jason the 13th, I mentioned how there's a sequel to Rockman and Forte for the Wonder Swan that kind of almost looks like a port of that game, except it's black and white and it's hot garbage.
Interesting.
So kind of moving back to the main topic at hand, as mentioned, as I mentioned, Disney Storm moved to the free-to-play model, and Simbu had corrected me and said that is on this Thursday. So again, this Thursday on the 28th, if you're interested in checking that out, definitely recommend giving that a download because it has the Simbu seal of approval, patent pending. And while other sort of kart racers have done the same, including Mario Kart Tour for mobile devices. And we touched upon this with our like last episode regarding microtransactions. So in 500 words or less, Astrimedes, and I'm counting. I'm going to have the little counter. You're not going to see it here, but you're going to have the counter on the finished video. What are some of the benefits of this whole model of like this, the free to play for these kart racers? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the benefit of the model to the developers, it's potentially a more long-term, sustainable, consistent source of income than one-time game purchases. It is either a benefit or detriment to the players, depending on how exactly it's implemented. And that's basically what it boils down to, because it's totally game by game, depending on the implementation. Anything free to play or microtransaction is automatically suspect.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat there. Storm, have you tried the Mario Kart Tour for mobile devices?
No, I have not.
So
Because my experience with games that were generally made for the console then tried on mobile, I did not like. And my one that I tried was Fortnite. I just don't like the touchscreen for that. So racing for me already, I need the the training wheels on. So going mobile, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pass. So no, I have not tried it.
yeah, I need to try it because it probably has. Funny enough, it has the highest amount of courses and selectable characters out of any Mario Kart. Even counting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and even with all of the new DLC and characters that they're adding. But
Wow.
with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you actually have a freaking controller in your hand, and there to me, there's nothing that beats the tactile sensation of an actual like controller.
Right.
No, touchscreen is just a fundamentally challenging for complex input platform. Like it's people rely on it way too much, and I still don't think there's been enough good kind of like UI standardization or thought around a lot of that stuff. I released a mobile game myself. I tried to do something a little bit different with the input, and it's like I feel like it's kind of mixed results. I personally feel it's like a good solution, but it's probably a bit hard to explain. And if you don't already understand it, maybe it doesn't come across super well. So that has its own challenges too. And again, the problem is I don't feel, like buttons on the screen, I feel like are fundamentally bad, because without technology that probably will be coming in the future, where you have screens that deform and create a tactile sensation. If you can't feel where the button is, I feel like it's bad to have a button press. Anything other than like a single click kind of not actiony situation, I feel like you have to try to come with something a little more clever, like I prefer, tap in this region of the screen approaches and that sort of thing, like drag, and the phone will figure out your direction from your drag, because that's a reduced down, like very solvable problem for the phone and very manageable for a user. So yes, I have many thoughts on input and mobile input in particular.
Yeah, some of the earliest games like Fruit Ninja have taken advantage of the click and drag. It's a simple thing, but it's a winning formula, and it's something that as more advanced games come out for the phones, like Simbu and I were talking a little bit before the start of the cast about like Resident Evil 4 remake coming up for the iPhone 15. Yeah, I mean the idea of it looks and sounds cool, but it's not playing to the strengths of the device. It's the device trying to become something that, like, imitating something that it isn't. Like, it isn't. It's not meant to be a console. A console is a console. That's what it is. It's not to say that mobile games can't be good and can't be fun and everything like that. It's just like I really miss the ingenuity that kind of came with those older games.
Well, and then big question is, with Amazon recently releasing their Amazon Luna, controller that connects to your TV and you play straight from your TV, could Apple be on the brink of announcing its own controller?
And it's funny because technically Apple's already done that. They've already had the TV version of that for obviously Apple TV, and then the Apple Arcade, which released like 3 to 4 years ago, and you can just plug it in and use. It's an app with the Apple TV. You can use a Bluetooth controller, and Bob's your uncle, as the Brits say. You've got a playable controller. More importantly, not more importantly, poor phrasing, I'm sorry. I feel like Amazon sort of leaning into that is interesting, but Microsoft, in a lot of the leaked plans within the last week have shown they have plans for that, to where you just need the controller. The idea of having the console itself is no longer going to be something that's going to be required. You're not going to have that predicated to have that need. You just have the controller. Maybe you connect to a smart TV and a really strong internet connection, which of course everybody has here in the United States. Nobody has any issues with connectivity. So
okay.
Yeah.
Inferno Fox with his cheap internet.
Yeah.
But
Way to go, Bob.
dang it, Jeff.
You broke him.
Oh,
So
God, Julian.
And here's Samantha.
kind of jumping back to the microtransaction sort of discussion with these kart racers. Astrimedes, you sort of mentioned this, like, where my general question is going to be: is there going to be a worry that we could see future kart racers move to this model? Is it so much where so Disney Speedstorm is moving to it this Thursday? Do you guys, Jason, actually, I'm going to pick on you. Jason, do you see Nintendo, because Nintendo's got the mobile game, Disney Speedstorm is a mobile and console game, and it's moved to free to play. Do you see Nintendo doing a free to play Mario Kart?
I think if it gets big and popular enough, I could see them doing it, but I don't know if they will. I think they'll just keep going with their Mario Kart. It's been this popular already. When the new system comes out, we might actually see a Mario Kart 9. Hopefully not another Mario Kart 8 with just more downloads.
Mario Kart 8 plus plus.
Yep, exactly.
It's funny, a fun little FYI. Storm, you probably already know this, but so Mario Kart wise, you have Mario Kart 9 for the mobile phones. You got the Mario Kart Home Tour, which we're going to talk about in next week's podcast. But There's also 2 additional Mario Kart games for the arcades. I think it's Mario Kart GP Circuit 1 and 2. I saw them for the first, I've heard of them, but I saw them for the first time at the, I think it's called the Ghost Arcade in Chicagoland, like Peanuts Ghost Arcade or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome arcade place because it has like, you pay $20 or 20 or $30 for an entrance fee, and then you go there and you play over like
Is it
200.
Galloping Ghosts you're
Thank
I was
you,
thinking
gonna
of?
say, I
Galloping
think
Ghosts.
it's
Okay,
Galloping
yeah.
Ghosts.
So
And isn't that in Brookfield?
I
Yes.
think it is in Brookfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
so you pay like 20 or $30. And again, this is in the Chicagoland area. And you can just play arcade games. It's free to play as soon as you get there. And like as early I think I've seen Space Invaders from the late 70s. And then a whole bunch of 80s and 90s arcade consoles, and then some. I didn't see a lot of new ones, but there aren't a lot of new ones. But that's where I saw both the Mario Kart racers as well as the arcade version of F-Zero GX, which is F-Zero AX. So a little fun fact, those arcade ones were developed by Namco and published by Nintendo. So Pac-Man is one of the racers in both of those arcade games. And
Doesn't Pac-Man have its own racing game too?
he does. Namco's Pac-Man World Rally. And Nintendo was so impressed, they gave the keys to the arcade kart racer to Namco to develop that. I don't know. I don't know what their logic was. I'm just guessing.
Now, Storm, have you played the Pac-Man racer?
No, and I just saw that was on there. Out there. I looked at a list for it today, and yeah. No, I've not played it, and I feel shame.
You know, there is one thing I find interesting looking at this list here is that there have been 31, technically 32 with Disney Speedstorm because it's not on the list, but there has been 32 Mario Kart style racing games that have come out since 8 Deluxe released in 2017.
Oh, dang.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
Of
fair.
course, like 3 of them are actual Mario Kart titles, but
It counts. It absolutely counts. And it's funny how like so many of them kind of get drowned out or washed out by some of the big name ones, like I'd mentioned at the beginning of the cast here. But like that's interesting. So that begs. Oh, did you have something, Astrimedes? I'm so sorry.
I was just going to mention, when you asked the question, or, do you think it's likely that Mario Kart will go, free to play and microtransaction based? I don't think that would ever happen, but only because they could have their cake and eat it too, being Nintendo and selling console games. And again, being Nintendo, they can already make people pay basically whatever they want to make them pay for the next Mario Kart game, and they'll gladly buy it. And Nintendo feels like it. They could provide things. They probably would be cosmetic if they were smart, and I'm sure they would be smart, you'd hope, about what they provided. They could probably also provide cosmetics that people gladly pay money for too. I mean, it makes more sense as kind of a challenger in the genre to come in with a free to play, because it's obviously way easier to pull off your new players to play your game for the first time if the only investment is, the download and running it rather than no money, versus kind of the reigning champion. Nintendo can keep charging what they want. And I feel like as long as the quality doesn't drop, they really don't have anything to worry about. And especially because, as we've kind of like highlighted here, and as you do see all the clones even attempt to do, they know this, like these are character based games. So like the appeal will always be better for one of these games that has probably, stronger characters, or at least it's fair to say the appeal will be wider than the pure appeal of only kart racer interested people.
2 responses on that. Number 1, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has proven that Nintendo does not have to worry about quality to sell games. And sorry, Jason.
Oh, no.
Hashtag
I
sorry, not sorry.
that.
But another thing is you're absolutely right about the Nintendo can charge, because I'm the idiot that would pay $70 for the newest Zelda game, which thankfully the quality for the Zelda games has not let up or lessened at all. The worst Zelda game I've ever played probably would be Phantom Hourglass, and one of the and that's one game that I would be happy to say that I would own, because I've never owned that before. Just because, like, even with it being one of the worst Zelda games, it's probably like a 7 out of 10, and that's what you get generally with Nintendo, and how Nintendo can set the price on stuff. But
I did want to hold on. I did want to speak to the whole microtransactions in in regards to Speedstorm. The nice thing so far that I have seen is that there's only 2 characters a season that you actually have to quote unquote pay for, and that's via the Battle Pass system, which is not bad at all. Every other racer so far that I have seen join the game since starting has been a special event like thing that you have to do. So not something you have to pay to
more
win.
into, yeah.
Right. And as far as the season goes, I haven't not yet bought a season because I have the season pass tokens from the founders packs, but it seems like all the races can be unlocked. And of course, like I missed season 1, which was Monsters Inc. But I can still unlock all those racers. It's just a lot harder because I have to use their season tokens for their universal toy box pack, and then it just randomly generates from all the content available that is from most recent season and before. Obviously, not the current season, but. So it is literally free to play. And it's one of those games where, yeah, they have the cosmetic stuff, but it's kind of, in a sense, one of those things where you pick your favorite core set of racers, and those are your favorite ones, and that's the ones you want to buy the cosmetic stuff for. I don't really feel the need to buy the cosmetic stuff for Gantu or Jumba or Lilo, but of course, or Angel, but I have all the stuff for Stitch.
Yeah, and it's not, in a way, it's nice where the battle passes make the microtransactions more elective and everything like that. But again, as we kind of discussed last week, it's up to the player to decide if they want to move into that or move towards that like those kind of decisions. Which is kind of speaking to the whole clone thing. I mentioned a whole bunch of the games that have been cloned or been made clone. I want to kind of open the floor to see what you guys what franchise, and it doesn't even have to be like a video game, because as I mentioned, there's Nickelodeon's Cartoon Network, DreamWorks, Kart Racers. Let's get fun. If need be, let's get silly. What franchise would you like to see a kart racer for? Do you want Matrix? Do you want Lord of the Rings? Do you want A Clockwork Orange? Storm?
Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, they basically have that already.
I mean, yeah. Storm, what franchise would you like to see in a kart racer?
The Avengers would be fun. And I'm trying to think, is there any, before I say that, is there any Avengers racers out there already? I'm not sure, but one based on the Avengers would be fun, or shoot. Yeah.
I'm also almost surprised that doesn't exist
Toons.
already.
Like Tiny Toons or Animaniacs, all those Warner type characters, if they would have a
Those
racer.
seem like they'd lend themselves very well.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm surprised there isn't a racer out there already for the Avengers, but
Me
them
too.
or Garbage Pail Kids.
That would be
That's a fun one.
That would be great.
That would be fun. I was
Yeah.
expecting you to go with like just a horror movie genre, like you could race as Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers and all of them.
That would be fun too.
Mhm.
But
And they could do like a whole cute aesthetic with that. That'd be fun.
could you imagine?
Yeah. Freddy Krueger meets Hello Kitty. Here we go.
Critters.
Oh, Freddy.
Yep, Critters. Yep.
Tremors too.
Yes. Oh my god, I
Tremors.
love Tremors. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Those are good. I like that. It is funny where Warner Brothers hasn't done anything like that to my knowledge beyond that Looney Tunes space race thing. Because it's if Warner Brothers did the multiverses, like you would think you would think that they'd have a kart racer.
Right.
Actually, Looney Tunes does have an actual couple kart racers. They have
Yeah, Looney
Looney Tunes
Tunes.
Racing for released in 2000, and then
But they never branched
2001
off to
for
the other stuff.
GBC.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, because I mentioned Looney Tunes Space Race and others. It would be cool if they because you could have Looney Tunes in there, but then because it's Warner Brothers, you have to have LeBron James. I mean, you cannot have a Warner Brothers game without featuring LeBron James. So make sure you have LeBron James in your kart racer, and along with LeBron James, you can have other Warner Brothers characters with LeBron James.
There will be a counter in the actual video of how many times he just said that.
Exactly. So
LeBron James.
For every time I've said LeBron James and everybody else has said, you have to take a shot of Jack.
You're trying to kill your audience now.
Wow.
That escalated so quickly.
It's like watching a
0 to 60.
It's like watching one of those political debates, and when somebody says look, if somebody says look in a political debate, you got to take a shot. You're going to be drunk by the end of it, even if it's a 1 hour debate. Jason the 13th, what franchise would you like to see a kart racer for and from?
LeBron James.
I'm gonna freaking spit my water here, Storm.
I'd love to see a new Mega Man one. That would be fun. Updated with all the characters. And then, unless I'm wrong, like Storm, I'm surprised Pokemon hasn't gotten their own racer yet.
Yeah,
where you could be all the different Pokemon driving carts and stuff.
That would do so well too, I think.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Ooh, you know what they do?
Pokemon Dash.
Yeah, that's not a race, not a kart racer though.
Yeah, aren't they just running around?
Yeah, Pokemon Dash is from what I've heard from everyone online and stuff, is one of the worst Pokemon games ever.
And there's Pokemon Team Turbo.
I don't know that one offhand.
You customize your own racer as your train. You're the trainer. Your racer is a trainer, and you just throw Pokemon at each other. Now that would be. Now that would be a fun Pokemon kart racer. Just random Pokeballs flying and just Gollum slamming down on somebody.
Astrimedes, how about you?
Real quick. We got the other one that I would love to see. Transformers. You don't even need to have a character. You just pick your Transformer and they drive as the car that they are.
You can pick items to turn them back into the Transformers so they can wield their weapon and knock them off or something.
Yeah,
it could be a racing game where you have oddly inserted platforming sections.
Those
where
would be
you're
my
the big awkward
my 3
mech.
picks. Yep.
So I think actually before I call on Astrimedes for his, I want to do an indie kart racer where by indie I mean like indie movies. So you have Boyhood, you got the boy from Boyhood where every race he grows up a little bit. Then you got Juno, where you have Ellen Page's character get more and more pregnant as the race goes along. She crosses the track and has the baby, and then you have what's the one with the J. Jonah Jameson character? Oh no, let me not that one.
McLovin.
What was it? McClellan?
McLovin?
Super bad.
No,
Super bad.
I'm more like indie movies. So Lady Bird would be one. So Lady Bird, every race, she argues with her mother who loves her but doesn't like her. I think that would be a really fun and unique take on the kart racer. Astrimedes. Following that, what do you want to see with the kart racer?
Twisted Metal would be my first choice. There aren't the other one, we talked about horror movies, and oddly enough, I think you do make a really fun Puppet Master kart racer.
That could be fun.
Now that would be great.
Because each of the puppets have their own stupid little abilities you could attack on to
Puppet Master versus Gremlin Racing.
Yeah, I was trying to rack my brain for another franchise, but yeah, I thought the Twisted Metal one seemed really funny, and it's I thought of it as a joke, and then it's I could almost see it happening at the same time.
I could see that happening.
And you lose points, and you slow down if you attack somebody. It discourages you from attacking people.
Oh, that's
Right?
not Twisted Metal at all.
Well,
Well,
Exactly.
that wouldn't be the Twisted Metal implementation. I mean,
It's so funny because Twisted Metal, I always think of like the battle royale version of like
Mhm.
Mario Kart. So you're putting them in
Yes.
the racing thing. It's just like, okay, it's you want to discourage that because you need to finish the race.
you could, I mean, you could do it in a way where it's like, oh, in the Twisted Metal kart racer, like you can actually kill the other cars and everyone's worried about their health bar. And then there you go. Now it feels like Twisted Metal,
F-Zero.
but it's still a race. You could still outrun everyone and say, too bad. I don't have to worry about that.
So it's
Right.
kind of
So
like
now it's
F-Zero
more of
with
a question
items.
of, yeah, or it's a question of, even if you're in the middle of the pack, do you take that attack power up or do you take the defense power up?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It could be done, is all I'm saying.
So we need to get you the Puppet Master license so you can make your own attacking kart racer thing.
I would
Yes.
probably be more passionate about the Puppet Master version were I to have to choose to make one of those.
Oh, Simbu, how about you? What would you like to see franchise be a kart racer?
I mean, God. I mean, we can go with Ubisoft titles. We can go with Marvel in
Star Wars?
general. Honestly, I would not want to see an actual good Star Wars kart racer. I don't. I just don't want. It'd be like a Lord of the Rings kart racer. Why?
Oh God, that'd be hilarious.
I was going to jokingly say Lord of the Rings was one of my first thoughts.
Yeah.
Too.
It would
But
be
yeah,
like
for
a
the
Lord of the
same
Rings
reason,
kart racer.
it's anachronistic. You shouldn't throw characters in there where it's like the cars don't make any sense because they're realistic characters. If the characters are out there cartoons, you can basically do whatever you want. But
Mhm.
yeah.
I know we have the South Park rally, but I want to see South Park come back with a phenomenal new current gen racer. I think that would be awesome.
It could do it. It could do it too, because I know they're working on South Park Snow Day, which I think is, I can't remember if that's a one player game or a battle royale game, but it's a whole new South Park. It's not an RPG. I actually think they are working on Snow Day and a new RPG at the same time, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, these games are they're you run into some that are great, and you run into some that are not so great, and then you run into Lord of the Rings kart racing, which apparently I was just quickly googling. There some guy actually made a demo of it. It looks like Lord of the Rings Lego that was turned into carts. It's
Wow.
it's awful and it's hilarious.
Another weird idea: procedurally generated kart racer with Spelunky characters.
Interesting.
In Inferno Fox, real quick, South Park Snow Day is coming next year, and it's going to be a 4-player co-op game. So
What genre?
you can grab up to 3 friends and play.
Cool. What genre does it say? So I'm trying to remember if that was a.
Doesn't. I don't know if it's going to be it's not. It doesn't look like a BR day or like a BR game.
It says it's 3D action. So I mean that's pretty cool. Like you play Stan, Kenny, Kyle, and Cartman. Jumping in, playing whatever the story is. Hopefully it has a story enough to where it keeps the high quality that Stick of Truth and the Butthole game had. But so yeah, kind of wrapping it up here with the kart racer stuff. So we're in agreement. We want the puppeteer to be a kart racer. Astrimedes is puppet master, puppeteer, puppet master. We're going to get Astrimedes the license. So my wonderful viewers and listeners at home or at work working hard, if you can help get us the rights, we got a developer. We got.
I mean, Full Moon. They can't be doing that much these days. So I'm willing to offer up to $50 for perpetual use of the Puppet Master license.
Exactly. I mean, that is a steal, and that's before tax. $50 before tax. After tax.
So if you're listening, Full Moon.
Yes. So
You
Just
before we go off and stuff, I forgot to mention Simpsons Hit and Run. I absolutely loved that game, but I don't think it's a traditional
I was gonna say, was
racer.
that a kart racer?
nope. It
No.
it is
It's
it's
more
like
of a GTA clone kind
yeah,
of, isn't it?
GTA
Ah.
slash not Crazy Taxi. It's like GTA Crazy Taxi mix.
Yeah. So
Okay.
never. I love that stupid game, but
I'd argue
Anyway.
that's one of the best Simpsons games made.
yes, I would agree. There's a
So
reason I got the PlayStation 2.
yeah, we ended up picking that up on the GameCube, I think. Yeah, definitely a decent game overall and one of the best Simpsons. So what I just want to take the time to thank the wonderful cast and crew here for joining us on our Mario Kart clone discussion. Of course, starting off with Stormrosesky. You of course can find her at Stormrosesky's almost said Twitter. Oh gosh.
No.
Twitch and YouTube. Twitch and YouTube, Stormrosesky. Thank you for joining us, Storm.
For storming us.
Yeah,
For
you're
storming us,
welcome.
Joy.
Thanks for storming us,
I'm glad to be
John.
here, Bob. It's been a pleasure.
And next up, of course, Simbu Darkfang. He is our resident main actor from the Basement of the Dead, located in Chicagoland area of Aurora, Illinois. And he is our number one level 5 grandpa, Simbu. Thank you so much for joining us.
I think at this point I might be the only level 5 grandpa, but it is what it is. I'm always glad to be here and ramble.
Next up, of course, we have Phil. Jason the 13th. He has his YouTube channel of Jason the 13th. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason.
No problem. And I know I'm going to be late to the game, but I finally got to sit down and record some of the DLC. So hopefully that'll be posted real soon.
Excellent. Yeah, because you can always catch Jason the 13th's footage for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on his gameplay channel. I definitely recommend subscribing and checking that out. And
Coming January 2024. No.
I think the next DLC probably is.
Feels that way right now.
And last but certainly not least, we have Astrimedes, one of the developers and co-owners for Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It was interesting chat down not often explored, I feel like, avenue of games here today.
And we've definitely managed to have nice tangents, off topic, on topic, off topic, and that's what you're gonna get here with the Inferno Cast, especially with Bob, your host. And Bob here is just
who's not anybody's uncle.
Bob's not your uncle, but Bob wants to thank you again for joining us, and hope you all have a great day.